Okay. Anyways, guys, as I was mentioning, today's demo is on certified ethical hacking. This is the foundational course for people who are completely new to this domain of cybersecurity. Okay, so this course teaches you what cybersecurity is, what hacking is, and what ethical hacking is, and how they are different from the very core basics from scratch. Okay, so before we dive into the demo much further, there are a few important terms that I want to let you know, and I want to clarify. So most of the people think hacking and ethical hacking is one and the same, but I would like to clear that misconception today. Okay, so first let's try to define what hacking is. Okay, so when we talk about hacking, this is the procedure of trying to gain access to information systems. Okay, now these information systems could be anything. They could be as small as a mobile phone to as big as a web application server or a database, and this gaining access to these devices is done without the permission or without the consent of the person owning those systems. Okay, so when you're trying to perform hacking, you try to get access to these devices without the target person knowing about it. Okay, and this is usually performed by hackers for their own benefit. So once they get the access to the data, they can steal the data, destroy the data, or sell the data to the target. Okay, and sometimes they might even be so mischievous that they might do it for fun as well. Now, if hacking seems such a criminalistic task, why do we have a course called ethical hacking? Is the second question is because ethical is something which is legal. So now, how can hacking become legal or a white collar job? So when we talk about excuse me, ethical hacking, on the other hand, this is the procedure of trying to find vulnerabilities. Okay. Now, vulnerabilities are nothing but flaws or loopholes or weaknesses, you could say, in simple terms, in the devices or in the information systems. And using these loopholes only, hackers try to get access to them. Okay, they try to exploit those vulnerabilities and try to get remote connection to the target system. So we, as ethical hackers, try to find these vulnerabilities through which hackers are gaining access, and this is done with the consent and permission of the organization. So we work hand in hand with them. We abide by the laws and policies that they set, and we try to find the weaknesses in their infrastructure. Once we find those weaknesses or vulnerabilities, we report it back to the organization so that they can apply the appropriate patch for it. Okay, they can remove that vulnerability and thereby close the doorway or the pathway for the hacker. So with ethical hacking, you're trying to increase the security of the whole infrastructure rather than causing any harm. Okay, now depending on these two terms, guys, we can categorize the various types of hackers as well. We have someone known as black hat hackers, gray hat hackers, and white hat hackers. Now, when you talk about black hat hackers on the first end, these people are also known as the cyber criminals. These are the ones who perform hacking for their own benefit. Okay, and they do it for fun as well, sometimes without asking for consent. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we have someone known as a white hat hacker. These people are also called as ethical hackers or penetration testers. Okay, they perform ethical hacking again with the permission and by abiding by the laws and policies of the organization. They work to find these vulnerabilities and report it back so that they can increase the security and remove the weaknesses. Now, in between, there's another third category called the gray hat hackers. As the name itself suggests, these people are a combination, you could say, of black hat and white hat properties. Like a black hat hacker, they don't ask for permission before finding vulnerabilities. But once they do, like a white hat hacker, they report it back to the organization. But there is a minor catch over here. They don't do that for free. They do it for something known as a bounty. A bounty is anything which is beneficial to them in the form of a money reward, financial reward, or a reputational reward. Okay, anything which benefits their careers. Okay, so hence these gray hat hackers are also known or termed as bug bounty hunters. All these three professional types of hackers, whether you take black hat hackers, gray hat hackers, or white hat hackers, they perform hacking or ethical hacking in a certain number of steps. Okay, and these are the same steps that are followed in real-time scenarios in organizations as well. Okay, so this procedure of hacking or ethical hacking collectively is called as hacking cycle, or in corporate terms, cyber kill chain. Okay, now again, various organizations categorize these steps into various numbers, but if I had to summarize it, there are 5 important steps. First step is known as information gathering. It can also be referred to as reconnaissance or footprinting. So these are the other alternative names to it, guys. They are one and the same term. Okay. After that, you have something called scanning, which can also be referred to as enumeration. Third, you have gaining access. Fourth, you have maintaining access. And fifth, you have reporting or clearing traces. Now, these do not seem very easy to understand just by the technical names. So let's briefly discuss about each of them one by one, so you have a clear picture about what the course is and what all you're going to be learning in it. Okay, so again, guys, feel free to interrupt me at any certain point. If you have a question, please raise your hand or please interrupt me as well. Not an issue at all. Okay, so again, if you have any queries, please do let me know. So proceeding further, let's discuss about each of these steps one by one. Okay, first step is information gathering. Now, as the name itself says, information gathering is where a hacker or an ethical hacker tries to gather target data. Okay, so whatever data you need for hacking the target system, this is obtained, okay, regarding the organization passively. What I mean by passively is that this information is gathered from other third-party sources. So you don't contact the organization directly, you gather it from other resources on the internet. Now the main question is, what kind of information are we talking about over here? This is the information as follows. Okay, so whatever your targeted be, whether it be Tesla.com or Wipro.com or any other organization, first you need to find the IP addresses or the range of IPs used by their target servers. Then you need to find the who's records, understanding who is hosting the website and since when has it been hosted, when was it last updated, when will it expire, all that kind of registration information. Then DNS records, understanding what information is stored on their DNS servers, linking each domain to the IP. Then employee data, such as their contact numbers, their email addresses, their, if possible, their usernames and passwords which got leaked on the internet. Okay. Then the domain names and the subdomains of the website and the operating system information. What OSs are they using in their organization? Okay. If I give you a very basic example over here, a real-time practical example. Let's say if you wanted to find the DNS information for any target organization, all I have to do is go to the browser now, and in the browser, search for a website called DNS Dumpster. Okay, this is a very popular website in the cybersecurity domain, and this gives you the complete DNS server information of any organization in the world. So if I search for Tesla.com, let's say, and if I click on search, you can see over here, this shows us where Tesla servers are geolocated first in United States. What are the DNS servers for Tesla and how many primary DNS servers and secondary DNS servers are there? Okay. Along with that, what is the exact public IP of each of these servers? Now, these IP addresses are very important from a hacker's perspective to understand the further steps of hacking, okay, which are scanning. So it shows us all the DNS servers. It shows the mail servers as well. So Tesla is using Outlook.com for their mail servers, and this is the exact public IP for that server. Scroll down much further, shows all the host records. Host records are nothing but all the domains and the subdomains, which are quite important and linked to Tesla.com. So as you can see, this is the main domain, which is with the public IP 104.89.119.157. Quite important from a hacker's perspective. Okay. Similarly, there are other subdomains as well. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you can also see the complete network topology of how Tesla's servers are connected to one another, as you can see. Now, a common question that usually students ask is, sir, is this legal? Should Tesla give out this information, and can this be this open? Okay. Again, it is a necessity, guys, that this information should be given out if the target audience or if the clients need to access these different servers. Okay, so these are all public facing servers, guys. We need them to access all the services of Tesla. So giving out this information is not the wrong part. Not checking if any of these endpoints has any vulnerability is the wrong part. Okay, so Tesla, when it releases a server publicly accessible to on the internet facing side, it needs to see that that server is completely bulletproof, okay, from hacking attacks. Okay, so if it is not checking that, that is where data breaches or any other attack on organizations happen. Okay, so after this, coming with the next phase is scanning. As I've mentioned, this is the phase where the IP addresses come into the play, where you have the necessity for all those IP addresses, which I've gathered in the first step. So when you talk about scanning, it's of three types. There's something known as network scanning, port scanning, and vulnerability scanning. So the main objective of scanning now over here is to gather much more extra information, which you could not get in the first phase or the first phase by making active connections. What I mean by active connections is like that you are going to directly target the target server rather than contacting third-party services. In the first step, information gathering, we got the information passively from other third-party sources. In scanning, we get the information directly from the target. Okay, so when you talk about scanning, there are three categories to it. There's something called network scanning, then port scanning, and then vulnerability scanning. And you perform them in the same order. First, you try to figure out on the target network what all devices are active. So if I take Tesla's organization, in that local vicinity of Tesla's corporate world, what all devices are active, what all devices are up and running, okay, whether it be phones or whether it be laptops or servers or firewalls, whatever it be. On those devices, you perform port scanning to figure out what ports are open, okay, and what services are running on them. Then finally, you perform vulnerability scanning to figure out, are these services which are running on those ports vulnerable to any attacks? Is there a possibility that you can attack a certain service and get access to the remote system? So during this phase, we'll be using a very important tool called enable Nessus, guys. So if I show you that, you can just go to the browser, search for enable Nessus, hit enter, you get the first link, and you can, this is the tool. So when you click on buy, you can see it's quite an expensive tool. So we'll be working with the same tool in our classes. So I'll show you the practical hands-on to understand how to install this tool on the system and how to run this. Don't worry, you don't have to pay anything. There's a trial version for this as well. So if I log into my Nessus login portal, this is how the tool would look like, guys. Okay, you have multiple scan templates, scan techniques. Okay, and then you have scans as well, showing you the vulnerabilities on each and every device. Now this might seem technical, guys, but I'm just trying to show you that whatever we learn in the course, it is completely practical based with real-time scenarios and real-time hands-on practice. Okay, so these are tools that are used in organizations. We shall be using the same tools itself. Okay, after scanning, now the next phase is gaining access. Now this is quite a huge concept, covers a vast variety of topics, and these are topics as follows. So firstly, we'll discuss system hacking, how to crack or bypass a Windows operating system password. So if you have a system which is locked, how do you break that lock? How do you break the authentication and bypass it and get access to the internal files? Is what we learn in system hacking. Then comes malware attacks. Malwares are nothing but malicious softwares. So we'll practically learn how to create malwares, how to prevent our system from malware attacks, how to verify if our system is already under attack, how to detect malwares. Okay. Then there's a bonus concept called malware advanced. This is not included in the CH curriculum from EC Council. We have just added it so students have a better understanding on malwares. Okay. After that, there's network penetration testing. So in a network, you have multiple devices. You have DNS servers, DHCP servers, FTP servers, web server. Okay. So we need to understand how to check for vulnerabilities on each of these servers and what kind of attacks can you perform in a local network. Sniffing attack, man-in-the-middle attack, denial of service attacks, or hacking Wi-Fi routers. All this comes under network pen testing. After that, you have social engineering, where we learn how hackers create fake websites. Okay, so whether it be social media pages or bank account login pages, whatever, we learn how to create fake login pages and perform phishing attacks. Along with that, we also learn how to prevent our system or how to verify between fake pages and verified login pages. After that comes web application pen testing. In this, we'll learn about a very important tool called burpsuit. Burpsuit is a proxy tool that is used in websites on web applications to find the vulnerabilities. So we'll learn all the common website weaknesses, such as SQL injection, cross-site scripting, broken authentication, and so on. Then finally comes hacking mobile phones, where we learn how to perform pen testing on Android phones, how to get remote connection to Android phones by using malware attacks. Okay. After gaining access, we have two more important concepts, guys: maintaining access and reporting or clearing traces. Maintaining access is where we learn the important persistent connections. So if a system restarts or shuts down and starts after a very long time, how do you still maintain a connection with that? Okay, is what we learn in maintaining connections. After that, you have reporting or clearing traces, where we see how we can generate a report or how we can remove all the evidences. So the whole course is designed in such a way where you learn both the perspectives, a hacker's perspective as well as an ethical hacker perspective. The security professional, you need to know how hackers think or how they perform the attacks. So you'll practically learn all of that as well. So the whole course is divided in a 60-40 ratio, guys. Oh, sorry, 20, you could say 20-40. So in the whole 60 minutes of the class, First 15 to 20 minutes we'll discuss the theoretical part. Remaining 40 minutes we'll discuss on the complete practical part of it. Okay, so again, I've not included all the topics over here in the presentation. There's a browser which you might have been receiving already from the organization. So this contains the whole list of topics, guys. So before we dive into the advanced concepts, we have a few prerequisites to cover as well. Since not everyone might be from a technical background, we need to learn what basic networking concepts are, what are IPv4 addresses, what are IPv6 addresses, what is a DNS server, what is a DHCP server. So we learn all that networking concepts. Then we learn about virtualization, because we need to install a tool called VMware. Okay, VMware is a tool which allows you to run multiple operating systems on the same singular base machine. Okay, so we need to install a tool, operating system called Kali Linux. It's a Linux Debian flavored operating system. So to install that, we need VMware again. So we learn the whole lab set of installation, and then after all that is done, then we dive into the advanced concepts. Okay, there's a few bonus concepts as well, guys: cryptography, reverse engineering, IoT, firewall, and honeypot bypassing. Okay, cloud security, using basic Splunk for SOC analysis. All these are the topics that we learn in the course. Okay, again, guys, a completely practical course for a duration of 35 to 40 days. You'll have classes from Monday to Friday every day for 1 hour. Okay, and the batch is starting tomorrow itself at 9 o'clock in the night. So if you're interested, you can join those first 2-3 classes for free, guys. You can understand how the topics are going, and then you can register for the course if you need it. Okay, so yeah, again, as I've mentioned, you'll be receiving all the recordings, you'll be receiving all the live sessions, you'll be receiving all the notepad files, the documents, and all the resources for inclusive of the course price. Okay, so yeah, that's that, guys. Nothing further. If you have any questions, you can let me know. Anusha, Anand, or Sandeep, or Vasant Kumar. Hello. Any other questions, guys, for anyone before I exit the session? Okay, assuming there are no questions, guys. Yeah, perfect. So, oh, I'm so sorry, Vasant. I didn't notice that. No worries, I'll reduce the pace if needed. Thank you for bringing that to my notice. So sorry if I went a bit too quick. I might have rushed a bit. Okay, but again, as I've mentioned, please join the class tomorrow to learn about the first concept called networking concepts. And I'll see to that I put the pace in check. I'll go a bit slow. Thank you for that point. I'll keep that in check, guys. Yeah. Are there any other questions? Yeah, okay, perfect. So yeah, that's it, guys. Nothing further for our session. Again, as I've mentioned, the whole course is for around 35 to 40 days. We have classes from Monday to Friday, every day for 1 hour. And the class is going to be at the same time, 9 o'clock in the night, 9 p.m. And we'll have the first class tomorrow. Okay, so we'll learn basic networking concepts in tomorrow's class. What are IPv4 addresses? What are public IPs? What are private IPs? What are the different classes in IP addresses? Is what we learn in tomorrow's session. So you can join the class using the same link, guys. Again, you don't have to pay for the first 2-3 classes. You can get registered after that as well. Those can act as your demos also. Okay, so yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for attending the session today. Thank you for giving your time. And again, I'll keep the pace in check, Vasant. Thank you for bringing that to my notice. That's it, guys. Bye bye. Have a good day tomorrow. I'll see you soon. Thank you, guys.